Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, and Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Well, they went and did it again, y'all. Went and lost another freaking season opener. 5 in a row. I mean, I got a lot to talk about. I mean, the game itself, the big picture aspect of losing another opener. I mean, you got Clemson next year at Clemson. The following year, Clemson comes to Baton Rouge, and I mean, I don't know why you just continue to put yourself at a competitive disadvantage. Um, the games are scheduled, so I don't know what you can do about it. But it's one of those things. If everybody in the country were starting with a marquee Power Five non-conference game, but there were 5 this week. It was LSU, USC. There was Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Miami, Florida, Penn State against West Virginia. Leaving one. Oh, well, no, I'm leaving one out. Does Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt count? I'm probably leaving one out. But anyway, the point is, it's not a bravado thing. It's not a pound your chest thing. It's a stupid thing. It's like, why are you putting yourself at a disadvantage when everybody else has a layup in the opening week and you don't? You start 0-1. You're just choosing to put yourself behind the 8 ball. So that part of it stinks. The game itself, I mean, I think we talked about all week the plan was going to go to try to run the football and shorten the game, and they did. I mean, the opening drive of the game was 7.5 minutes. LSU ran the ball 26 times. Uh, 117. So you were only off by 200. So, the interesting thing that was in that opening drive, when you went right down the field, I mean, 15 yards to Kyron Lacy, 15 yards to Kyron Lacy, Josh Williams rush, 5 yards to C.J. Daniels run, Kyron Lacy on 4th and 2, that's 5 passes, 8 yards to Kyron Lacy, that's 6 passes. Mason Taylor for 13, 7 passes. Josh Williams for 12 yards. Josh Williams minus 1. Incomplete to Kyron Lacy. Kyle Parker reception. It's 9. 10. So 10 of the 13 plays on your opening drive were pass plays. And you went right down the field. And after that, it was like you made the commitment to running the football when what moved you down the field was passing. Kyron Lacy had 4 catches on the opening drive. He only had 3 the rest of the game and none in the second half. I think sometimes like the game reveals itself to you what's working and what you should do, and pretty clear that you thought going in your advantage was going to be running the football. And LSU ran it well. They ran it for 4.5 yards a carry. But not enough. Brian Kelly said it. You had 3 possessions inside the 15 where you came away with 6 points. You got to convert touchdowns in the red zone. The opening possession is completely on Brian Kelly. 100% on him. It is so foolish to win the toss and elect to receive. It is foolish. It is, so nobody does it. To say you want to go set the tone, or it's again just stupid bravado. It's not smart. The reason you defer is exactly the situation that happened. You want the opportunity to have the last possession of the first half and the first possession of the second half to go back-to-back scores. I don't know how many times we saw that last year. And then also you want the extra possession in the second half in case it comes down to the final possession, you get the ball, which is exactly what happened. And USC, their kid did miss a 29-yard field goal at the end of the first half. Would have had the opportunity to go, they did have the opportunity to go back-to-back scoring possessions. And then, of course, they had the ball at the end to go win it. So just massively disappointing. There was some good stuff. I mean, the defense only allowed 27 points. I say only, and that sounds kind of ridiculous. You could say, oh, the missed field goal. Well, I mean, LSU had the ball at the 3-yard line and came away with no points because Brian Kelly apparently hates points. It's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's like the objective isn't rushing yards or total yards or scoring defense. Like that's not the objective of the game. The objective of the game is to score points. When you have an opportunity to score points, you go score points. And you're at the 3-yard line. You took the ball. You went forward on a fourth down early. You went right down the field. You stalled out at the 3. This fourth down, you should have kicked the field goal. You should have taken the friggin' points. Not that it would have changed. Not that the outcome would have been any different, but the entire complexion of the game changes. It's just you're ahead. Now they have to play from behind. It just the complexion of the game changes. LSU played from behind for the majority of the game. Okay. Yeah. We went ahead 17-13 when Aaron Anderson scored. And then when you're up 17-13, you have the ball twice in the fourth quarter with a lead with a chance to put the game away. And twice you couldn't move the ball. 5 plays punt, 3 plays negative 7 yards punt. John Emery on a 3rd and 1 gets thrown for a TFL. Like you absolutely have to convert there, man. Anyway, really disappointing. Really, I mean, it's what Brian Kelly said, man. Like here we are again. And he's right. I mean, it's his fault. I mean, he's the coach, and clearly they didn't have the right game plan, didn't execute. And he mentioned the penalties by Kyron Lacey and Major Burns, which were both foolish and selfish, and they were. I mean, Kyron Lacey pretended like he had a gun in his hand, pointed at the defensive back. So then you're kicking off from the 20, and a low kick, and that allows Zachariah Branch to return it into LSU territory. And thank God for Aaron Burrell making that tackle. Otherwise, that's a house call on special teams. And then Major Burns, I mean, ripping his helmet off, costing you 15 yards after a change of possession. Like, I mean, you get a stop on 4th down instead of starting at the 36. Now you're starting at the 21. Like, dog, just not smart, man. Old veteran players too, man. 5th-year guys. Anyway. All right. Let's say some good mornings. Bailey C. Nuss was good. Defense looked decent. O-line was not great at games, and play calling was conservative. This is the first time I'm not blindly optimistic about BK. He needs to deliver. I agree on delivering. You know, one of the things that certainly changes here is just the dynamic of Jaden's legs, right? I mean, think about that 3rd and 1 when John Emery got stuffed. What if, I mean, when you have Jaden Daniels, you just have such a different dynamic there. So that's one thing you don't have in the offense this year that you obviously had a year ago. And I agree with that. Nuss was good. I mean, his stat line, I mean, God, he threw for 300 yards, y'all. 29 to 38, 304, 2 touchdowns, the pick at the end, which was whatever. You know, and the defense was good enough. They were plenty good enough for you to win. The offensive line was great in pass protection. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier didn't get touched. I don't know if y'all looked at like they had no sacks. I think 2 TFLs. I mean, it was Garrett Nussmeier didn't get touched in that game. So offensive line was good there, and you ran for 4.5 yards a carry. Just were not opportunistic to finish drives. And when you had the lead in the fourth quarter and you couldn't put it away, that's the really disappointing thing. When you had the lead in the fourth quarter and you had 2 possessions to lean on them, go score, make it a 2-possession game, and you just couldn't do it. That's the really disappointing thing. So you just felt what was coming. When they had a punt with 2 minutes left or whatever it was just like, well, This is exactly what you feared, is having the game in your defense's hands, and exactly what you feared transpired. So SC, I mean, it was 8 plays, 75 yards, a minute 39. Boom, boom, boom. Wendell Norman, Jerry G, good morning. Goose Sports, good morning. Nick Newbill, O-line biggest disappointment. I don't know that I agree with that, Nick. I mean, they were fantastic in pass blocking. Nussmeier never got touched, and you ran it for 4.5. You ran it for 117 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. I mean, Ryan Stadler want to know why Brian Kelly's so against taking 3 points in opening drives. With you. I mean, not that you need the history lesson, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Last year against Florida State, LSU again got the ball to start the game and went right down the field. 8 plays, 61 yards, 3:06 off the clock, 4th and goal from the Florida State 1. Jaden Daniels was sacked by DJ Lundy for a loss of 13 yards.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Brian Kelly makes that call, not the offensive coordinator, about to do at that point.
To go for it or not?
Yeah.
Yes. Bryce, where's Verge Osbury? I don't know, he's probably at the game yesterday and then flew home, I would guess. So I guess he's in Baton Rouge right now. Nick, good morning. Jacob, thoughts on the Brian Kelly postgame press conference? I guess you're talking about pounding the table. I don't mind it. I mean, it's just rare that we see Brian Kelly kind of lose his cool like that. But I understand his frustration, and I don't mind seeing emotion from a coach, whether it's on the sideline or in a press conference. So I'd rather emotion than a robot. So it didn't bother me. I was actually glad to see him kind of be ticked off. Jesse, that wasn't good. At what point is this on Kelly? It's all on Kelly. He's the head coach. I mean, ultimately, that's why you get paid $10 million. The buck stops with you. You have to have your team ready to play. You got to go win games. He doesn't get a pass. You know, the thing is, like, I think this team is good, and they're going to be good this year, and I think they're going to win some big games and give us a lot of reasons to cheer. And if you're thinking in terms of a playoff, you've allowed yourself just no margin now, because if you're looking at scenarios, like you gotta be 10-2, which means you'd be 7-1 in the conference. And if you're 7-1 in the conference, you're probably playing in Atlanta. So then you start to play through the scenario. Again, just humor me. I'm not saying this is happening. I'm playing through a scenario, right? So like, and I'm getting to your point about like expectation. If you're 7-1 in conference, so you're 10-2, but you're 7-1 in the league, and you go to Atlanta at 10-2, and let's say you lose to Georgia, and so now you're 10-3. Does that knock you out? Like that's one of the scenarios you look at. Again, I'm not saying that they're going 10. My pick on this team, I thought they were going to go 10-2 with a win over USC. My contention was if they lost to USC, I thought they were 9-3. I don't get to make 2 picks. I made 1. My pick was that they were going to beat USC and go 10-2. Well, they lost, but the 10-2 was part of my SC win was part of my 10-2. So now I think they're 9-3. I think they're 6-2 in the league. I think they go 9-3, and I think they're outside of the playoff. And it sucks because it's the only sport in the world, man, where you lose a game like that, you lose your opener, and it feels like it's over. So to the point, about Kelly, I mean, I think he's a great coach, and they're going to win games and give us a lot of great moments this year. But you have to break through eventually, and that's the expectation. That's why he came here. That's what he's paid to do, and they got to break through, man. So maybe this team can continue to improve and get better and better, and hopefully get there. But games like that, don't help. I mean, I could explain away with context the previous 4 times they've lost. I mean, in 2020, the Bo Pelini hire was a disaster. There was COVID. There was all that stuff. 2021, Ogeron made 2 very poor coordinator hires, a period. And it cost you, again, you got outcoached by Chip Kelly and that staff in 2021 at UCLA. in 2022, Kelly's first year, I mean, he was handed a decimated roster, was a bad situation, and that just wasn't a great team at that point. And then last year, we learned Florida State was a really good team. This is one where I don't think SC is a great team, and you may not be a great team. I don't think you're a great team either, but that's a game when you look back and you're just going to throw up all over yourself because you should have won it. You should have won it. Trevon, who takes the blame for this loss? Kelly. John, good morning, bummer. Not a good start to the week. Hey, Tucker, good morning. Honestly, I thought we played great with good intensity. Got to capitalize after turnovers. But LSU didn't have turnovers. That was the thing. They forced 2 fumbles but didn't recover either of them, and that's just a little bit of bad luck. I mean, that one ball, I think it was it Jones or Suggs that forced the fumble, and it was just right around midfield, and their offensive lineman fell on it. Like, this is a tough break, man. Ball bounces left instead of right. Maybe you take over with half a field, and it's different, but you got to create those opportunities. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel if you're there on YouTube. Facebook, please like the page, share the post, and all that stuff. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Me and Orthopedics go to Brock. The free Friday night clinic's back for high school football. Love that. Allows high school athletes after Friday night games to come in and get checked totally free. So love that they do that. Great service to the community. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Semaglutide, tirzepatide. Everyone's heard about the weight loss shots. If you want to get it, you do the whole thing over telemed. And remember, they can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So if you're interested, learn more at uniquephysique.com, and of course, restoredmotions.com. Book a session with Crystal Poche. How about Matt Flynn wearing our Nuss Bus shirt? That was cool. LSU even shared it on their official Twitter account. So I just posted the link for 929 Misfits if you want to get the Nuss Bus shirt. I know it's not the moment that everybody's super excited about, but anyway, and I do have to give one more shout out to Jason Ramazan and Mr. Fun's Travel. So I've traveled with Jason's groups for a lot of years, man. I think Eric and I went on our first trip in 2009 with the LSU Bama Patrick Peterson game, and Jason was with the Alumni Association then, and now he runs Mr. Fun's Travel. But if you're looking to go to a game, and if they're going, would highly recommend. Great guy. They take care of their people. It's an easy way to travel, man. So shout out to Jason Ramazan and Mr. Fun. Stanley Harrison, good morning. Kerry Hughes, you had the 27, right? 3rd year in a row. We opened with a great drive, no points in the opener. Yeah, so I had 31-27 was my final. So I actually did peg USC's final score, but I thought LSU offensively would have done a little better. But as you mentioned, Kerry, I mean, to open with a great drive. I mean, you mentioned 3rd year in a row. Last year, you got sacked on the 4th and 1. The year before, if you remember, it was the same thing. It was the errant snap by Garrett Dellinger that took you out of field goal range, or out of it was a sack again on the first year, wasn't it? Yeah, you went 8 plays, 46 yards, 3:19 off the clock. Oh no, Ramos made a field goal. On the opening possession. Yeah, because you had the errant snap. It was when Dellinger was the center, and you had 2nd and goal at the 5, and Garrett Dellinger had the errant snap, so you lost 14 yards, and you ended up kicking the field goal. But last year was when you went forward on 4th and goal, and you got sacked. Bailey C., I'm tired of waiting until Sunday to lose. Ryan, if they take 3 points at the beginning of the game, it's possible after 2-minute warning. SC had 1 timeout. We could have run the clock and kicked 3 to win. Christian, good morning, everyone. It was a good game for 3.5 quarters. Overall, there's some good stuff to build on as a team. There is. I mean, listen, I'll tell you this. I'll give you some positives. I mean, not that anyone wants to hear positives today, but I'll give you some positives. I thought Savion Jones was awesome. 2 sacks in the game. He looks like a monster, and he's ready, I think, to have a big final season. Harold Perkins legend tackles. I thought Harold Perkins played really well. I know everyone's just looking at Perk for um, uh, the big sacks and TFLs. He had a beautiful play where he shared the TFL on the stat sheet, but it was his play. And I even saw it coming too. I saw him creeping when he stunned it. It was a great play. They picked on PJ Woodland a little bit. He got a PI, and then went right back at him, and he got a pass breakup. So nice recovery there. You played a ton of guys defensively. I mean, at the beginning of the game, I was trying to chart, you know, defensive changes and everything. It was hard because I was just had a note open on my phone because I was at the game. um, but I mean, you played a ton of guys defensively. Came out of the game mostly healthy. I was told, by the way, if you follow me on Twitter, I did tweet during the game. I was told from Gordy, who was on the sideline, that Deshaun Womack was injured, had ice on his foot, was done for the game. It wasn't Womack. It was Princeton Marlbrew. So Womack went to the locker room right before halftime, and so they told him the wrong name anyway. So that's just a mistake. I was just reporting what I was told from the sideline, but it was a mistake. So Womack was fine, thankfully. Not that you want to see Prince and Marlbrew or anybody be injured, but he came out of the game mostly healthy too, which is good. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Ryan Dixon, good morning. Do you still feel the same way about Brian Kelly as a coach? Yeah. I mean, I don't think the result of one game is going to alter the way I feel about what he's proven as a coach over 33 years or whatever it is. I mean, yesterday was obviously disappointing. And you know, um, I mean, I guess I'll look at it this way, Ryan. Like, there's going to be games this year where, like, what happens if when Ole Miss comes in here into Baton Rouge in 5 weeks or whatever it is, and they're an undefeated top 10 team in America, and you win that game? Like, then I mean, it doesn't mean like it doesn't wipe this away, but it's just like they're going to have good moments this year. I mean, they're going to win big games and give us reason to be excited. I keep thinking, what do they say? Like the past is a good history is a good indicator of the future. Like, I mean, Mettenberger, Burrow, Daniels. I mean, all three of them started their first season in Baton Rouge in their fourth year in college, and were good. And then by their fifth year, their second year as a starter, they were elite. Two of them won the Heisman Trophy. So I kind of think about that with Nuss, man. I don't want to like say you flush this season after one game, but like I know everyone's excited about Bryce Underwood next year. But I'm telling you, man, like that's the kind of thing where next year, with Nuss as a fifth year guy, if he's back, that's when you would expect the kaboom. But no, I know nobody wants to hear that, man. We all want to see LSU go compete for and win championships every year, especially in a 12-team playoff. Randall, death, taxes, and Kelly losing the season opener. Ain't just Kelly, man. I mean, it's 5 in a row. Cajun Country, got my whiskey and wine fix last night. T-Bob looked distraught. I hate to think the season is basically over, but it feels that way. And that's one of the reasons that we need an expanded college football playoff, because you should never play one game. Like, actually challenge yourself, play a good opponent, lose a hard-fought game, and feel like, well, season's over. That's the thing about college football that I hate. And that's the thing where people go, oh, the most sacred regular season. No, it's not the most meaningful regular season, because effectively what you just told me is then the next 11 games don't matter. And that's stupid. Not you, Sean. I'm just saying that concept of fans who say that. But you're not wrong. I mean, but that's why I hope in a 12-team playoff, you get to November and you feel like you're still playing for something. So long way to go. Greg Carter, morning, Matt. Blame go around, but most goes on the defense. Secondary was not great at all. You know what, Greg? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they were great, but I'll tell you what they did, which is pretty obvious. They committed to saying, we're not giving up the deep ball. We know we can't match up athletically on the outside. We're not going to go give up 60-yard passes. And so they didn't. I mean, the long completion I think that SC had was 41 yards, and it was a catch and run. The one-handed grab that the guy made downfield on that first drive was just a magnificent catch. On their first scoring drive was a magnificent catch. Let's see. I mean, the long rush of the game for SC was 17 yards. Yeah, Kyle Ford had a 41-yarder. It was that catch and run. It was kind of a shallow crosser, and he turned it up and ran for 41 yards. Excuse me. Where was it? Okay. There it was. So you forced a 3-and-out to start the second half. Then LSU punted. And on SC's next drive, they had this was it. God, 3 possessions, 3 third downs. It was 3rd and 10, and they ran the shallow cross for 41 yards where he turned up. Then they had 3rd and 8. That was the PI on PJ Woodland. Then they had 3rd and 5. That's when Savion Jones got a sack. They kicked a field goal to take a 13-10 lead. But look, man, my point is about you said that the secondary wasn't good. I think it's going to be this. It's going to look like that this year. They threw for 378, and you're going to go, that's atrocious. But you allowed 1 touchdown. You didn't get a pick. And you just committed to saying, we'll give you everything underneath and make you go 8, 10, 12 plays. That was the approach. And by and large, it worked because the approach is, all right, over the course of 8, 10, 12 plays, somewhere along the way, you're going to have a penalty. You're going to have a negative play. It's going to put you behind the sticks, and we're going to get off the field. And you did, man. I mean, like that defense last night, if LSU has that defense last year, you're a playoff team, man. You probably win the national championship with that defense. I mean, SC went punt, touchdown, field goal, end of half. Punt, field goal, punt, downs, touchdown, end of game. I mean, they scored touchdowns on their last 2 possessions when you couldn't get the final, the knockout blow in the fourth quarter. Hey, Austin, good morning. Very disappointing. Just like the last opener, we outplayed in the first half except for the score. Imploded in the fourth quarter. Should have put the game away. It's true. Very true. Irfan Sayad, Gamoggan. Jesse Brown, too many penalties. I agree with that. Disconcerting signals was weird again. I mean, obviously, I'm not on the field, so I don't know what they're hearing. But you had a snap infraction on DJ Chester. You had a false start on Will Campbell where he was saying he couldn't hear. We went over the 2 personal foul penalties, the targeting against Jordan Gilbert. I hated that. I mean, it's the most critical part of the game. I mean, after their penalty moved them back to the 47, it felt like, I'm talking about on their game-winning drive. After their penalty moved them back to the 47, they were out of field goal range at that point. I mean, false start back to the 47 with 18 seconds to go. I mean, you are 1 play away. You are 1 play away at this point. It's 2nd and 10. You are now it's 2nd and 15, and he throws that pass to the left sideline to Hudson for 20 yards, and then you got the foul on Jordan Gilbert, which puts it down, at the 13. So, and then of course Woody Marks ran in for the touchdown. So, God. Yeah, I don't know how it would have gone in overtime, but 18 seconds left. They're back at the 47-yard line. You give up the 20-yard completion plus targeting on top of it. Lance, good morning. Stinks waiting all offseason to be let down again. Any chance of the playoffs we had for this year pretty much died last night. See, I just disagree with that, Lance. I mean, that's the thing about the 12-team playoff. Your margin for error has shrunk now, right? For sure. if you lose 2 league games and you go 9-3, then I agree with you. But you know, can you keep improving as the season goes along, get better? The good news, again, if you want the good news, the glass half full. I'm not telling you they're a playoff team, but I will lay out, just for the sake of laying out both sides of it. You play Nichols this week and you win. You go to South Carolina, where you should be a big favorite. By the way, that's ABC. The game's gonna be on ABC at 11 a.m. And you should win that one. I don't know if you watch South Carolina this weekend. They are atrocious. And then you UCLA at home, and they're atrocious. And then you play South Alabama, which, of course, you should win that game in Baton Rouge. So you have 4 games in the next 4 weeks where you should improve going into your open date before you host Ole Miss. And if you manage to get that one, then all of a sudden the entire dynamic of your season changes going to Arkansas and A&M before your open date and you play Alabama. So really, that means every single season preview, prediction, everything that I did all off season, I pointed the Ole Miss game as the most important, and it looks like it now, because if you manage to win that one, everything changes for you. But if you lose that Ole Miss game, then it's kind of what it is. So, all right, please, 562 watching live. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. If you're on YouTube, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Locked on LSU is live. I'd really appreciate it if you check out the pod. Full disclosure, I recorded that last night, and I don't even know what I said. I don't even know what I said. I didn't have any notes in front of me. I just talked for about 25 minutes. One point in the show, my mic was off, and I realized it was off for like a minute and a half. So I had to go back and edit the audio. And this morning I went and clipped the video to edit it out. So anyway, but I would appreciate it. Let's see. Nick Newbill, good morning. Austin, Matt, I thought the worst play call tonight was a second down on the first drive of the fourth quarter. Their D-line was toast, couldn't stop the run. We stalled on an awkward pass play. It was an awkward pass play, and it was probably the only bad ball that Nuss threw all night. When I would say it was really it was a bad ball. I mean, Nuss was so good. He was so on point. But you're right that that was I think T-Bob mentioned it on Whiskey and Wine last night as well. It was the one play where you were kind of like, man. Let's see. Dax, before you break down this dumpster fire, thoughts on the entire sequence after the 2-minute timeout. Why not run on 2nd and 8, bleed more clock? The defense is improving. They can't win a game for us. Dax, I don't disagree with you, man. I would also say that for me, I don't want to be hypocritical, because I wanted to see LSU throw the ball, because it was pretty clear throughout the game that you had a distinct advantage there. If you're talking about the sequence that he's talking about, so it was 2nd and 8. I think this is the same play Austin was talking about. It was 2nd and 8, coming out of the 2-minute timeout, and they attempted a pass to Aaron Anderson, which was incomplete, and then they went on 3rd and 8 to Kyron Lacey, which was also incomplete. So, you punted with 1:56 to go in the game after back-to-back incompletions. But you ran it on first down, man. You ran it with John Emery on first down for 2 yards. And I guess if you had a creative run in your arsenal, that's fine. But then I think the flip side of it too, I guess just doing this long enough to know how these conversations go. If you throw it there, or I'm sorry, if you run it and you get stuffed, then everyone's going to say today, why were you so conservative at the end of the game? Why not throw the ball and go win it instead of just trying to bleed clock and get home? I mean, I guess it plays out the way it did. I mean, I think you make the best play call in the moment that you think you have. On 3rd and 8, I mean, you're not running for a first down on 3rd and 8. And if you run it there, you make them call a timeout. But as it played out, it still wouldn't have mattered. Anyway. Ryan Pike, I slept on it, still makes me puke. Barry Johnson, good morning. Marvin Sloan needed to open up the playbook. I don't know, man. I thought they did a ton of different things. I mean, They threw to Kamori and Pimpton. I don't know if you noticed, but they had an ISO route intended for Trey'Dez Green, so he had one target in the game, and SC brought pressure, and Nuss had to just fire it to avoid a sack. I don't know. It was in the second half. I was already back at no, I was watching on my phone, so it had to be end of third quarter, beginning of the fourth. I left after Aaron Anderson's touchdown to walk back to which incidentally is when the game changed for the worse for LSU. But they had a beautiful call. They had an ISO route where it was Trey'Dez was one-on-one, and then Pimpton caught a ball. Again, they had the ISO route for Trey'Dez, which was a great play call. They had a good pressure. You got three backs involved. You got Aaron Anderson involved, who was really good yesterday. Xavier Thomas, they were creative with him. I love the jet action they ran with Aaron Anderson. Mason Taylor was really good. I mean, I don't know, man. I think they spread the ball around a ton. Hang on. Let's see. You had y'all. Yeah, no, I can't get down with saying that they got to open up the playbook. Lacey, Anderson, Taylor, Thomas, Daniels, Pimpton, Emery, Jackson, Parker, Williams. 10 players caught a pass. 10 different guys caught a pass. Come on, man. I can't get down with saying. And then Emery, Williams, Caleb Jackson, and Xavier Thomas all had rushing attempts. I can't get down with saying you got to open up the playbook, man. We can talk about sequencing and when you called what. I can understand that. It looked like in the third quarter, John Emery was fresh legs and was running hard, and that LSU was going to run him over and sort of salt that game away. Didn't happen. Jared, as soon as LSU chose to receive the ball at coin toss, I pictured your face being aggravated. You pictured correctly. All right, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there. I'm gonna scroll to the bottom here just because I'm like 30 minutes behind on comments. Let's see what we can do here from the bottom. Austin, Nuss looks scared to run. I just don't think it's part of his game. Cortland, I'm not go, but there's a select number of guys who it was 100% about hating on Jaden because I don't know what that is. Sorry. No Pimpton, no Green in the red zone. Bobby, look, man. So this is one of those things where it's not an I told you so, but the point that I have made consistently here when everyone has talked about using Pimpton and Green in the red zone has been this. Okay, you want to use those two guys in the red zone? Fine. Who comes off the field? You want to take Mason Taylor off the field? Because I don't. You want to take Kyron Lacey off the field? He had a great touchdown grab and was literally a foot away on the opening drive from another touchdown grab where he made a beautiful catch and his foot was, it was just, he was a foot out of bounds. I mean, who are you taking? You want to put Pimpton or Green in the game in the red zone. And I don't disagree with that. Who are you taking off the field? CJ Daniels is a safety blanket for us. Aaron Anderson scored a touchdown for you yesterday on a beautiful crosser where he turned it upfield and got in the end zone. Beautiful play design. Like, you want to take off the field one of your veteran star offensive players to put a true freshman on the field? Look, I love Trey'Dez. I think he's going to be a star, and I'm okay put him in there. But who are you taking off the field? Rapping batches, everyone acting like BK inherited a terrible program that never won anything. He has to rebuild for 3 to 5 years. That's ridiculous. LSU was only 2 years removed from national title. BK isn't the dude. So, rapping batches, you can manufacture whatever revisionist history you want, but he inherited a dumpster fire. LSU was 11-12 in the 2 seasons removed from after 2019. They played a bowl game with 39 scholarship players. They turned over half the roster. It was a disaster what he inherited. It was a smoldering heap, okay? And if you didn't get Jaden Daniels, which was Brian Kelly who went and got Jaden Daniels, what would you have been the last 2 years? Year one, I mean, you won back-to-back seasons of 10-win games, and you have a Heisman Trophy winner. I'm not saying going 9-3 and winning a bowl game, getting to 10 is the standard, but if you can't acknowledge where you were, where you are, that's just some, I don't know, man. Maybe that's some low-level trolling on your part, or just crafting a narrative to fit whatever you want it to be. But if you can't remember giving up 600 yards to KJ Costello, if you can't remember getting absolutely dump trucked at Kentucky, if you can't remember 2021 playing that game at Ole Miss where your team flat quit, brother, come on, man. Like, don't tell me that what he inherited was fine and dandy. They were a disaster. Culture was gone. Your roster was gone. Come on, bro. Sean, USC was better than we gave them credit for. I think USC is exactly what I thought. I thought this was an evenly matched game where it would be a game that came down to the final possession of the fourth quarter. I thought it'd be a one possession. It's one of those reasons why yesterday when I said, hey, drop your comments, drop your scores, I wanted you to do it so you could see how many 45 to 27s you saw. Because a lot of y'all thought that LSU was going to win this game by two, 3 touchdowns. Like, USC and LSU are evenly matched. It was an evenly matched game. Zero rushing attempts by Nuss. Why is that surprising for you? Like, I mean, that's not his game. I don't want Garrett Nussmeier running the ball. The other reason also why I don't want Garrett Nussmeier running the ball is, what if Garrett Nussmeier takes a shot? Then you're down to Ricky Collins or AJ Swan. Now your season's really over. So no, I don't want Garrett Nussmeier running the ball. That's why I got running backs. Wayne, Matt, isn't this loss strictly on the coaching staff? Players being undisciplined comes back to coaching, correct? I agree on that completely. I mean, eventually, a veteran player like Kyron Lacey and Major Burns, like, they have to be accountable and smart enough not to make those plays, those decisions. Erica, you know you're on camera.
You have to be ready.
Okay.
I mean, I have hair on makeup.
Oh, okay. Anyway. This is a good question from Patrick, and I don't know the answer to it, Patrick. Did USC take Lacey out of the game, or did the OC take him away? I don't know the answer to that, Patrick. They did target Kyron Lacey in the second half. He didn't have any catches in the second half. Look, the final offensive play LSU had, well, before the interception. They targeted Kyron Lacey on 3rd and 8. So I think USC clearly made some adjustments, but I don't know. That's one of those things where you go back and you look at film study and you say, okay, what happened? Did they do something differently to take Kyron Lacey away? And look, we'll talk to Brian Kelly tomorrow, and that's a question that I plan on asking him, provided I get the microphone, is Kyron Lacey had 4 receptions on the opening drive and didn't have a single catch in the second half. Was that by design, or what did USC do to take him away? And that's a question I plan to ask. So, anyway. See, I disagree with this. Cortland said USC had 5 wide receivers with a high of over 20 yards. LSU had 2. They took more shots. They didn't take more shots. The 41-yarder was a shallow cross underneath that they turned upfield and ran. LSU was giving them underneath stuff. One of them was just the amazing play the kid made with the one-handed catch, which I think the ball hit the ground, but I don't think video couldn't overturn it. It was just an amazing play. So, like, I didn't see SC just airing it out yesterday. Their deep shots weren't really deep shots. Again, it's another thing. We'll go look at film study afterwards, see how many balls, what are the air yards, right? How far did the ball travel in the air? Steven, what up, Coos? Help me understand why we win the toss, take the ball, and no universes that make mathematical sense. I'm with you. Point made forever. Just it's where we started the show today. And Kelly does it consistently. I can understand thinking, oh, we're going to go set the tone, and okay, but also look at what's transpired now 3 years in a row, and not just in the openers. Happened against Missouri last year as well. I mean, or you think about like the games where you were able to go back to back, end of the first half, start of the second half. It's why you do it. Anyway, 8:20 or 8:20 here, 10:20 back home. Happy Labor Day to everybody. I'm sure a lot of you got the day off. If you do, awesome. We got to be in the lobby in an hour. I haven't even packed yet, so I got to get going here in a minute. Y'all, please smash the like. But 636 watching, I love that, man. Please smash the like button if you're on YouTube. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, and we're on your new Facebook changed our algorithm, so we moved from my professional page to the profile, so you can follow the profile if you would. That'd be great. Would appreciate it. Let's see. Chris Hilton is the only receiver that can stretch the field with scary speed. We missed that yesterday. He'll help the offense when he gets healthy. He definitely has the best speed. I'll give you that for sure. I mean, he is he was my pick to lead LSU in receiving touchdowns this year because I thought he could be kind of the Brian Thomas, right, to stretch the field. So I do agree with you on that. I'd be really curious to know if Hilton were available, how that might have changed things. Kyle Parker started in Hilton's place, and Kyle Parker left the game with an elbow injury. But you got tons of receivers, man. That's no excuse for what happened. I mean, I'll keep thinking about the 3rd and 1 where you handed off to John Emery, where you said, all right, try to load up behind your offensive line, and they crowded the line and made the right play. I mean, it was an opportunity to move the sticks, to run clock. It was after you stopped USC on downs and Major Burns had the unsportsmanlike, Emery got hit for a loss of 5, and then you go with the 14-yard reception by Kamorian Pimpton. And then the next play was where Emery got stuffed for a 1-yard loss on 3rd and 1. And the bummer on that is it was Pimpton who missed the block. So Pimpton had the 14-yard reception. And then the next play, the defender came right underneath him and crushed John Emery. I mean, it's one of those things where, okay, you want to go too tight, have Mason Taylor and Pimpton in the game, you got to be able to make that block, man. Yep, Pimpton's a young guy, and he'll get better. And Brian Kelly's talked about Pimpton as a willing blocker. But I think back to if you go back to the first game against Florida State in the Superdome, if I'm not mistaken, that was Mason Taylor. It's been 2 years now, but I think that was Mason Taylor who was on the left end who allowed the blocker, the defender, to come inside of him to block the PAT. That was a freshman tight end who had a lot to learn and grow on, right? And so that's one of those moments where it's 3rd and 1. It's not on your that's not on your offensive line. That's on Kamorian Pimpton. But it's a young guy. But I'm not putting it on. I'm not putting the loss on Pimpton. But that's a big play there. I mean, in the moment, and you make the decision to have that guy on the field in that moment, and it's you're up at that point, 17-13. You get a turnover on downs. You got the ball here with 7 minutes to go in the game. And here's an opportunity to run clock, maybe put together a long drive to go put it away, right? And so you got 3rd and 1, and your guy misses a block, man. So now you got a punt. And then that's when they went 3 plays, 64 yards, and took a lead that they wouldn't give up. Well, they would, because LSU would kick a field goal on the next drive to tie, but you know what I mean. LSU would never have the lead again. Okay, y'all. I think we got to wrap this up because I gotta pack. We got to be down in the lobby in less than an hour. So, Big shout out, y'all, to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Of course, you need an orthopedist. They're the best. You go to Brock. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. It's me, Terrio, Richard Tilley, who's on the trip with us here. Trent Davis, Joe Morales, our great team. We'd love to help you out all over the state of Louisiana. We'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Unique Physique, semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss shots that everybody's heard of. If you want to learn more, you can do the whole thing over telemed. And of course, they can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So even if you're outside of Baton Rouge, Unique Physique can help. Go to uniquephysique.com. And then Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you're in pain, book a session with Crystal Poche, restoredmotions.com. Britt, controlling the clock is one thing. If you can't get first downs with the run, scoring again is your best bet. I agree. But, I mean, they tried both approaches. Like on the drive I just alluded to, they tried running clock. And then they went in on the ensuing drive. And, I mean, this was the sequence on the ensuing drive. It was when Will Campbell got the false start, so it's 1st and 15. They had offside, so right back to 1st and 10. Nussmeier to Aaron Anderson for 3 yards. Josh Williams run for 3 yards. Aaron Anderson, 41 yards for the first down. I'm sorry. Yeah, for 41 yards. John Emery, no gain. Complete to Xavier Thomas for 12 yards to the USC 16. Boom, boom, boom. You're right there throwing the ball. You can't tell me this is conservative. And so then you handed it to Emery for 2 yards. Then you went incomplete to Aaron Anderson, incomplete to Kyron Lacey. So they were throwing the ball. I mean, you can't say they got conservative. They were throwing the ball. They're trying to go take the lead. It was a tie ball game. You were down 3. You were going to try to take the lead with a touchdown and said you stalled out. The pass to Aaron Anderson, the incomplete one was the one that a lot of people thought about was kind of maybe the worst ball of the day. And then they covered Lacey on 3rd and 8. So you end up kicking the field goal. So, and he gave up a touchdown. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't like that Kelly threw Nuss under the bus. I don't think he threw Nuss under the bus. He said their quarterback played better than our quarterback. And he did. I mean, on the final 2 drives of the game, all else was equal. I mean, it was a tie ball game. And on the final 2 drives for SC, they went They went 3 plays, 64 yards for a touchdown, 8 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown. On your final 2 drives, you went, 3 plays, -7 yards and a punt, 9 plays, 61 yards and a field goal. And before that, 5 plays, 23 yards and a punt. I mean, I'm not putting the loss on Nuss. Please don't misunderstand me. But, objectively, at the end of the game, their guy made plays to put together 2 touchdown drives, and your guy didn't. Again, I'm not putting it on Nuss. It ain't Nuss's fault that LSU lost the game. I thought he played great. He played really good. But if you're just looking at the 2, Miller Moss threw for 370 and put together 2 fourth-quarter touchdown drives. He was better. Okay. Doesn't mean your guy was bad. He was just better. Let's see. Jason Ramazan just texted me.
What?
Just making sure we're riding the bus to the airport.
Yes, and meals too, see?
Oh, yeah.
Please make sure those meals are on the bus.
The Neil's on the bus. Shout out to Jason Ramazan and Mr. Fun's Travel.
You told him that?
What?
Meals too?
Yeah, just
okay.
I'll say this, though. I don't know that anybody wants to hear this terribly right now, but I know the Alumni Association does. I was talking to Sally Steele with the Alumni Association. They have a travel trip to South Carolina. After the loss, I don't know that people are super pumped to maybe travel, but you should beat South Carolina in Columbia. And that is a really fun trip, actually. So I've been fortunate enough to go to Columbia. Columbia's a beautiful town, and Williams-Brice is a great stadium, and it's always fun to travel when you win, and LSU's going to win that one. So I'll post this with the Alumni Association, but I'll post the Traveling Tigers for the South Carolina game in there, but I also want to post Mr. Fun's Travel So everybody can, if you're ever interested in going on a trip, I know Jason does not only games like this for football, but he'll do basketball trips. I think there's usually like a basketball trip around Thanksgiving holiday. So let me go ahead and drop Mr. Fun's Travel, the link in here as well. Hey, Matt McMahon's flying home with us. So isn't South Carolina Sandstorm? It is. Yeah, it is. So that's it. Oh, Jason said the first bus is here.
Oh, well, we're not ready. Hello.
All right, I gotta go. The first bus is. I have to go pack my bag. Okay. Y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you. Go Tigers. Please check out Locked on LSU if you haven't done so yet.